Good morning, all. Let's continue with the previous topics. Our module 3, chapter 2, memory management topics. In a previous video, I covered two topics, a main memory and the swapping concepts. Today, in this video, I'm going to explain about your contiguous memory allocation. What do you mean by that contiguous memory allocation and how it works? So here we are, contiguous memory allocation. First, the term contiguous. What do you mean by the term contiguous? Contiguous is nothing but just like a continuous. It means sequential order. Contiguous like continuous process, continuous memory allocation. So in that contiguous memory allocation, you will be having two types. The contiguous memory allocation is nothing but you are going to you are going to partition the memory allocation or the main memory in a two different manner. One is fixed size partition and another one is variable size partition. In first one, the first method is fixed size partition. What do you mean by fixed size partition? It is nothing but, as the name itself indicates, once the memory is allocated, it is nothing but once you boot the system or once you switch on the system in your memory, first only your operating system will be get loaded. Once it is loaded, rest of the memory location will free. The memory space will be free until you try to execute something, until you try to perform some operations. So for the first program, you can able to allocate any memory location. But here you have to, you are partitioning the main memory in two manners. As I said you, one is fixed size partition and another one is variable size partition. In fixed size partition, as the name indicates, what happens apart from the memory location, whatever the operating system get loaded, apart from that memory location, the free slot or the free memory location will be get divided or partitioned into fixed size. So for example, your consider the operating system. Once it is loaded to the memory location is loaded with the operating system, the rest of the memory will be divided into fixed partitions. It is nothing but, it will be the partition or the whatever the memory is sliced, it will be in a fixed manner. The space is fixed. That is your fixed size partition. And what are the advantages and disadvantages in your fixed size memory allocation or fixed size partition? What happens if the partition or the memory space is uh, for dynamic or it is a fixed partition? If whatever the operation you are going to perform, the program or the process is of very small in size. Take an example, if the in your fixed size partition, if the first partition is of 16 MB, means if whatever the process you are trying to being an user, whatever the operation you are trying to perform, it is of very small size, means the rest of the memory location is of waste. So those are all the few disadvantages in your fixed size partitions. And here the advantages and disadvantages of your fixed size partition. What are the advantages of your fixed size partition? It is very simple to implement because you need not to make use of more methods, or you need not to implement any of kind of methods are required, because it is a fixed site. Whatever the required or whatever the space available, you are going to divide it equally. That is your fixed size partition. So it is very simple to implement. It does not require expertise to understand and use such a system. As I said, you are not making use of complicated methods or techniques to divide or partition the memory space. So for that reason, you need not to require any expertise or any expertise to understand and to use that such a systems. And one more advantage is it is less overhead. But what are all the disadvantages in this fixed size partition? The first thing is memory is not fully utilized. As I said you, if it is a fixed partition, the rest of the memory space will be get wasted. So memory is not fully utilized, poor utilization of the processor, and next is user process being limited to the size of available main memory. And one more thing in our fixed size partition is you have to enter or you have to load the program in a contiguous way. It is nothing but in a continuous manner. Sequentially, you have to load the operating system will load the process or the program in your fixed size partition. In contiguous fixed size partition, those are all the advantages and disadvantages of your fixed size partition. And our next topic is dynamic memory partition. What do you mean by dynamic memory partition? It is also called as variable memory partition. It is nothing but it is not fixed. It is not a static. It can be changed based on the requirement. Dynamic memory partition is nothing but you are not dividing the memory process in a constant way. Here you can see the example in this diagram. First four diagrams explain about your variable size partition in a contiguous manner. What do you mean by variable size partition in contiguous manner? Means you are dividing the memory location one after the other. That is nothing but contiguous, it is nothing but sequential, but in a dynamic process. For each and every process or for each and every partition is not having the same memory size. That is your dyn that is your variable memory partition along with a contiguous manner in a contiguous manner. So what happens here, you can see this. First is the operating system which is loaded to your memory. Apart from that, the rest of the memory location is consisting of 56 MB. So that 56 MB will be divided. First process consists of 20 MB and the rest is 35 MB. But what happens in the dynamic memory partition, your process 2, how much space it is required? It is nothing but 14 MB. It is divided into 14 MB for the second process. It is nothing but there is no any constant partition of your memory location. That is what it explains. Next four diagrams predicts that in a non-contiguous in a non-contiguous partition. What do you mean by non-contiguous memory allocation? It is nothing but if in between it is not a continuous or a sequentially dividing the process, or it is not sequentially allocating the memory space for each and every process. You can see here, first operating system is holding in the memory location, it is stored in the memory location. Apart from that, process 1 is first loaded and it consists of 20 MB, but the process 3 is loaded. There is a gap between process 1 and process 3. It is not allocated to any of the process 3, your next process will be allocated for 18 MB. This is how your non-contiguous memory location will work. So in this non-contiguous memory allocation, you need not to add or you need not to allocate the memory space continuously. Based on the memory location, free slots of your memory location, you can the operating system can able to store the program or the process in the memory location. That is all about your non-contiguous memory location. Next topic is about memory protection and mapping. How you will if you are making use of a logical address and the physical address, how the memory space is how you can protect the memory space or the data present in a memory location, and how the mapping takes place. As I explained you in the previous video, in here why if you want to store any of the program or any of the process to your main memory, means you will be making use of a two address. One is logical address and another one is physical address. Here you are making use of one more register called as limit register. As I explained you before, limit register always it consists of the length of the program or length of that particular process. So it will check the condition. First, it will assign some logical address and it will allocate the limit register. It will check whatever the value or whatever the address providing. If it is a less than, then if the condition is true, then it will be passed on to the reallocation register. Reallocation register will add the available address. After that, it will be stored in your main memory. If the limit register and the logical address, if the value of that address is greater than the, if it is greater, the condition is greater, the logical address is greater than the limit register means, then what happens, it will the address, the it will rise an error, addressing error. If it is less than, then only it will pass on to the relocation register. It will assign some value or the memory location. Once it is assigned, it will store on your main memory location. This is how your relocation and the limit registers will work for the concern of your protection, memory protection and mapping concept. So there are few difference between your contiguous and non-contiguous memory. As I said, you contiguous allocation is nothing but, or contiguous allocation is just like you are sequentially you are arranging or sequentially you are assigning the memory location for each and every process. That is your contiguous allocation. And non-contiguous is nothing but there is no any sequential order for allocating the memory location. So what are all the major difference between your contiguous and non-contiguous memory allocation is, first is the program execution takes place without any overhead. As I said you, for contiguous allocation it is in a sequential order, so there is no any overhead for program executions. One after the other it will get executed. But in your non-contiguous allocation, what happens, the address translation is overhead, because in the previous diagram you saw that the program 1 is allocated the memory location at the top, and the program 3 is having a space between there is a space between program 1 and program 3. There is a free memory location, but the program 3 is allocated after that. So you can see here, and again the program 4 is allocated in between process 1 and process 4 is allocated between process 1 and process 3. So for this reason, in non-contiguous memory allocation, the address line translation is overhead. Next is swapped in process or placed in the original area. Swapped in process can be placed anywhere in the memory location because there is no any sequential order. So in non-contiguous allocation, you can place the swapped in process in anywhere in the memory location. And the next one is suffer from internal fragmentation. I will explain you what do you mean by internal fragmentation in the next topic. But your contiguous memory allocation will suffer from your internal fragmentation. In our non-contiguous memory allocation, only paging suffers from uh, internal fragmentation. Next difference is allocates single area of memory for process, but in your non-contiguous allocates more than one block of memory for process. Next is in contiguous allocation, wastage of memory is very high, but in your non-contiguous memory allocation, there is no any wastage of your memory location or memory storage. Your next topic is fragmentation. In a fragmentation is nothing but just like dividing. Fragmentation is nothing but you are slicing or dividing the memory location. In the fragmentation, there are two types. Fragmentation can be done in two types. One is internal fragmentation and one is external fragmentation. What do you mean by internal fragmentation? Internal fragmentation is nothing but once there is a free space. For example, if there is a wasted space internal to the partition due to the fact that the block of the data loaded is smaller. As I said you, if in the fixed partition, what happens, you are partition the block for some fixed size, but whatever the process or the program loaded into that particular block is very small, means the rest of the space will be wasted. For the in that scenario, what you can do is you can slice that partition, and that free slots or the free memory location will be used by another rest of the program or the processor. That is your internal fragmentation. The free slots, if there is a list of, always your operating system will hold the list of holes. Here in your operating system, the holes are nothing but the free slots or the free space in your memory location. It will always consist of the list of holes present in that particular memory location, list of space or list of memory location. What happens, always your operating system, whenever the new process or the program enters, always your operating system search for the largest hole to allocate that process or the program. By that time, what happens, if there is a always the operating system will have the track of the hole, so that what you can do is, if there is any free space available, by that time you can divide that, you can slice that memory location, and you can allocate that free memory location to the further process or the program. That is your internal fragmentation. Next is your external fragmentation. What happens in your external fragmentation? In external fragmentation, as I said you, external fragmentation will works in your non-contiguous memory allocation. What happens in your non-contiguous memory allocation? There is no any continuous sequence of allocating the memory location. By the time, what happens, there may be a small holes in your memory location. For that reason, in your external fragmentation, if you want to allocate any of the process, by that time what happens, those free small holes will be allocated or will be compact as a one. Uh, as I explained you in the previous video, you can make use of the compaction. What do you mean by that compaction? Compaction is nothing but if there is a more free space, by that time what you will do, if there is a small holes in your memory location, means you can move you can move all the allocated memory space to one side, and unallocated memories will be merged, and it will be make use by the another process. This external fragmentation will make use of your compaction. Compaction is nothing but you are moving all the allocated process to one side, and the free slots will be compact, or it will be merged as a one single free space. By that time, that single free space will be allocated to the next process or the next program. That is about your external fragmentation. That is how your external fragmentation will work. So there are few difference between your internal fragmentation and external fragmentation. So what is the major difference is, in your internal fragmentation, it is the area copied by a process but cannot be used by the process. And in your external fragmentation, it exists when total free memory is enough for the new process, but it is not contiguous and cannot satisfy the request. That is your external fragmentation. In your internal fragmentation, first fit and the best fit memory allocation does not suffer from internal fragmentation. But in your external fragmentation, first fit and best fit memory allocation suffers from external fragmentation. Uh, Next is in fixed partitioning, inefficient use of memory due to internal fragmentation. But in dynamic partitioning, insufficient use of processor due to need for compaction to counter external fragmentation. As I said you, a compaction need more CPU time. For that reason, a dynamic partition is insufficient use of processor. Paging suffers from the internal fragmentation. Paging does not suffer from the external fragmentation. And one more thing is segmentation. Segmentation does not suffer from internal fragmentation, and the segmentation suffers from the external fragmentation. These are the few difference between your internal fragmentation and external fragmentation. Next is compaction. As I said, as already I explained you about the compaction. What do you mean by compaction and how it works? Compaction is nothing but, as I said you before, you can see here in the memory location, operating system will first loaded at the top. Rest of the free space will be divided for the rest of the operations or the programs. What happens by that time? Your program 1 will be stored at the second, and there is no any fixed partition or the contiguous space. There are two free spaces. By the time what happens, your compaction is nothing but it is moving all the allocated space to one side, and those two free spaces will be combined as a one free space, so that it will be very large in size and it can be allocated to rest of the process or the program. This is about your compaction, how it will work. Next is your garbage collection. Next topic is garbage collection. What do you mean by garbage collection? In your general terms, garbage collection is nothing but the unwanted things. As a, same as that, garbage collection is nothing but what happens if some process will be executed, and for some reasons or for, after execution it will deallocate the memory space, but the operating system immediately cannot access that memory location, and it cannot delete the content immediately. By the time what happens, you will be considered here, operating system will be considered it as a garbage collection, because it cannot be used by the other process also, and it is not currently it is not in the working procedure. Currently it is not using by any of the process. That is, you will call it as a garbage collection. From the beginning of this module, I am saying that the process is allocated in the memory location using two address space and all. But for allocating the memory space for each and every allocation, or there should be some placement algorithms. There it is nothing but, if you want to allocate in a non-contiguous or contiguous way, there should be some, you should make use of some algorithms. Here you are making use of placement algorithms. In that placement algorithms, there will be of four types. One is best fit, worst fit, first fit, and the next fit. You can consider this example. What happens in this? This is the primary memory. This is the primary memory allocation. Consider this first 6 KB is your operating system is loaded in this first 6 KB, and it is divided. This 14 KB, 19, 11 and 13. These three are the free slots. Apart from that, whatever the darken, it is already allocated space. So what happens in the best fit? In your best fit, if you want to store a 12 KB process, if you want to store a 12 KB program in the memory location, what it will do in your best fit, it will always consider the nearest value. For if you want to store the 12 KB, the 13 KB memory space, this is the, as I said you, 14, 19, 11 and 13, these are the free memory slots. So always, if you want to store the process of 12 KB, means in a best fit, it will always find, it will always search the memory space which is nearest to this. So this is 12 KB is nearest to this 13 KB. What happens if this 12 KB will be stored in this memory location in this slot, free slot, and 1 KB will be sliced out. So this is about your best fit. This is how your best fit will work. But what is the disadvantage? For the best fit, you have to search each and every memory allocation. for best fit you are going to search each and every free memory space. Then you will compare with each and every free memory space. Once it is compared, once you will get the best fit, then only you can able to allocate that memory process. It will consume more time in your best fit algorithm. Next is your worst fit. What happens in your worst fit? In your worst fit, it is just a reverse of that. In your worst fit, it won't check any of the condition. It will check only one condition, which is having the very highest slot, which is having the very highest free slot. For that free slot, it is going to allocate that program or the process. That is about your worst fit. In your worst fit, it won't check any of the comparison and all. It will just check only it will check only one thing, that is which is having the highest free slot. In that free slot it is going to allocate. That is in your worst fit. Next is your first fit. What happens in your first fit? As I said, you in your best fit and the worst fit, you have to check all the free slots in your memory location. Then you have to place that memory, then you have to place that process or the program until there is a waiting time is very more. So for that reason, the next algorithm, placement algorithm, is your first fit. What happens in your first fit? In your first fit, as the name indicates, wherever the first free memory location is available, it will always store, or it will always place in that particular memory location. Uh, this is the 14 KB is the first memory free slot. So in that first memory free slot, your next process is going to fit. This is your first fit algorithm. Then what do you mean by next fit? In the best fit and the first fit, what happens in both the algorithm? If you are making use of both the algorithm, what happens? It will be slicing, or it will be removing only small part. There is a small hole created by these two algorithms, best fit and the first fit. So in your next fit is just like an implementation of your first fit. What happens in this next fit? Next fit is nothing but it will make use of the compaction. What it will do? It will allocate the process, but in a non-contiguous manner. It will allocate just for example, take if the next process is of 4 KB, what it will do? It will allocate the 2 KB of that process here, and later it will allocate the next 2 KB here. So it won't make the memory space to in your next fit. The memory utilization is very efficient. That is the comparison between your best fit, worst fit, and the first fit, and how it will be overcome by your next fit. These are all the four placement algorithms which you will use to allocate the process or the program to the memory location. This is how your program will get allocated in the memory location based on the free slots in your dynamic memory location, dynamic memory allocation. Go through the topics once. If you get any doubt, revert me back.